Hey gang, it's me again, Sam Lanier from the Clackamas WeedWise program, and I just wanted to bring you the second edition or follow-up edition of WeedWise Home Edition. So last time we met, we were talking about garlic mustard, and I actually removed some garlic mustard from my property here, and we had about 3 good-sized plants that we found in the back area, thanks to me. So, or unthanks to me, I guess. So what we're going to do is actually be cooking these guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the plant in general and talk to you about how it grows. So the plant grows first from the ground, and you can kind of see them there. It'll grow these kind of small leaves here that are a little bit different shape. They tend to be more kind of shaped more like a horse hoof kind of thing, more kind of rounded. And they'll come straight from the ground. And apparently these leaves tend to be much more bitter than the leaves up above, although the whole plant is noted to be bitter. But when you get to the flower stem, the plants tend to be more heart-shaped. And you can see this guy here. So they tend to be more heart-shaped and a broad scalloped edge. And these are the ones that we're going to be harvesting from our leaves or from our plants here to eat. So they tend to be more mild. The plant's focused mostly on making flowers this time of year. So they don't invest as much time in creating these compounds to discourage bugs and people from eating them when it's still in this rosette stage. But when it flowers, it tends to be more mild. So we're going to go ahead and harvest these guys and get to work. So I'm going to pause it here for a second, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back here with some plants. What I'm going to do is start taking the flower stems. We're not going to have a ton of material here, but you can kind of see these guys. We're just going to pluck them off and throw them in a colander so we can wash them off here. Wash them off good. And take all those guys that we can. There's a ton of literature about these guys online, so you can actually spend some time if you're interested in doing a little bit of foraging for these guys, especially while we're kind of all cooped up these days. Getting out and about and harvesting some of your leaves or some of your wild plants. This is one that you can certainly do. So you want to be cautious and make sure that you absolutely know what you're looking at when you're harvesting any kind of wild plants. And I tend to tell folks to avoid any kind of public spaces that you've got, because so many of our public areas, especially for garlic mustard in this region, are heavily managed, and herbicides are used at times in those areas to prevent those plants from growing. So you definitely want to spend some time making sure that the area that you're harvesting from is clear. So I'll finish these up and then we'll come back. All right, so we're back. We've been able to harvest all of our garlic mustard here, everything we had in our yard. There's not going to be a whole lot here, which is actually a good thing, but we might as well take advantage of the situation and give these guys a try while we can. So be right back. All right, guys, well, here I am. I've harvested all the leaves from the garlic mustard plant. And now I need to figure out what I'm going to do with all these really bitter basil leaves on the plant and the remaining stalks. So I always get this question, like, what should I do with the old plants? Should I throw them in the blue trash bin, or should I throw them in the brown yard debris bin? And the rule of thumb is trash the seeds, but compost the weeds. So if we had seeds or something growing on this guy, then what I would do is I would put it in the trash bin. But because I don't have anything, any seeds, we've got it pretty early in the season, I can go ahead and throw it in the yard debris bin and let that go ahead and be composted and keep it out of the landfill. So give that a try. Hey gang, we're back. So our mustard greens are all cleaned up. We've washed them up and they're ready to go. There's a couple other things you're going to need. We've actually got a recipe we'll post in the comments here, but you'll need some olive oil, some balsamic vinegar, a little bit of garlic. I've got some already cut up here, but you could just use garlic cloves as well, and some salt. So with that, what we're going to do is take a little bit of olive oil and add some to a pot here. So I got my pot. We'll just add a little bit. We don't have a ton of garlic mustard to work with here today, so just enough to kind of coat the bottom of the pan. We can set that aside. And then let me get you situated here so you can maybe get a better look at this. So we've got our pot here going on the grill. So we've got some good heat going. It's heating up pretty quick. So we'll just kind of coat the bottom of the pan here as we get going. There you go. And then we've got a little bit of garlic. Now the garlic won't take much time at all, so this whole thing is going to take just a few minutes, which actually makes it a kind of a nice approach there for you. Now that might be a lot of garlic there. I'm going to take a little bit back, so we'll go with that. And hopefully you can see that all right. And then once we kind of get that going, it's starting to sizzle up here. We're going to go ahead and throw in our mustard greens. So these are the double garlic mustard greens. So we add a little bit there. We're just going to saute those guys up for a second, kind of get the oil to coat them. They're not going to take any time at all. And actually, to prevent burning, I'm going to turn these down just a hair. Get those going, and we're just going to give them just a second to kind of steam a little bit on the fire there. So, you know, this recipe that I found, there's a ton of recipes out there for garlic mustard. You know, it's a plant that folks have had interest in just because of the fragrance and aroma of the thing. And this is a really simple recipe, but there's a lot of recipes for like pesto and other things like that. Unfortunately, I got a nut allergy in my household, so we don't really have anything like that we could use for the pesto so much. So we're working with what we can here. So, but this is a real simple recipe, much like you do with, say, cooking kale on your stove, or you know, doing something like that. So really, we're just kind of wilting it down, and the heat helps to kind of break down a little bit of that bitterness, and you can see it really does break down, and the plants start to dwindle down a little bit. And really, like I said, it just takes a minute or so here. So we've got our garlic, we've got our olive oil, and what I'm going to do now is just throw in just a pinch of balsamic vinegar. Now the balsamic vinegar adds a little bit of tang to it, and it actually is reported to help to kind of settle down the bitterness of the garlic mustard as well. So it kind of helps to draw out that bitterness, and you get a little more tang of it. So that works pretty well. So with that, we'll get it going here, and maybe just add, that vinegar is going to add a lot of acidity, and we'll just hit it with just a little pinch of salt, not much at all there, to make that happen. So okay, this guy's about done, and we're going to give it a go here. So let me go find the folks that are going to be trying this for us and giving us an idea about what they think about it. So hold on. All right, gang. Hey, I found my two little buddies here. We got Benny and Maddie. These are my two boys. They're at home with me these days, homeschooling. And the first thing we're learning today is what? How to brush our boots good, right? And keep any kind of weed seeds from moving around. So we've also got our little bit of garlic mustard here. We're going to move it around. Matt and Ben are going to be our taste testers for the day. So, yeah. You guys are. You didn't agree to it?
Wait, is that kale?
No, but it's kind of cooked up like we do kale, right?
It looks like kale.
All right, well, here's a little bit.
I saw that one.
Okay, you guys get to try it out and tell me what you think about it. Okay, and actually you get to tell everybody else what you think about it as well.
Okay.
So, and I'll try this batch right here, okay?
If I like it, can I have all that?
Sure. All right, you guys ready? How about on the count of 3, we'll try it together, all right? Get yourself a piece. You got some, Benny? There you go. You on your mark, get set, go.
Oh. That's definitely garlic.
All right. Hey, what's that? Well, let's get your guys' take on things. All right, one's going to the end of the house. One, don't be spitting it into there. That's gross. Well, there you have it. I didn't think it was that bad, but you know, young palates. So take your chances, give it a go, and see how it is. So, with that, you all take care, and
That was terrible.
and happy eating.